We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6-Rig Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, by the way, did you just notice? I'm back. I'm back in the room. All right. I'm representing again.
You made it upstairs?
Yeah, I'm back upstairs. I'm punished. I got punished, so I'm back upstairs. Now, man, welcome back. We've got, what is it now? 6 weeks to go? 5 weeks to go before
I think it's
5 weeks, I believe.
Yeah. Jesus. 5 weeks to go before the Kings go up to Gainesville to play the Florida Gators. So really excited about that. There's so many things going on right now. Recruiting wise, I know Blue will get an update from you today. We've had a lot of visitors this past weekend coming down to Miami, some committed guys, some 5-star guys, some guys that have been committed elsewhere, some really big names. And so got a lot of things going on this weekend down here in Miami with those visits. Also, we will preview we'll actually break down the top defensive front seven this week tonight as well. And, anything else that we can get our hands on. Obviously, we bring back Blue's show and tell today. So, Blue, while one of us, you gotta get something. So one of us is gonna be talking. You gotta find something unique out there.
I already got.
All right, sweet, perfect.
I was gonna put it on. I was actually gonna wear it tonight, but I got too fat, so it don't fit.
I understand that. I totally understand it. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of that also. So let's get it going here. I know we've got we'll definitely break down the front seven first because. Look, to be honest with you, I think that this defense and this team is going to be predicated on what that front seven does, right? They're going to dictate a lot of the momentum that the Kings get on offense and on defense. You're talking about some of the best. You could probably say top 5, even top 3. Some might say even the best defensive ends in the country right now, as far as depth is concerned, starters. Everything. You've got a lot of talent on those ends. Some guys transferring in, some guys that have been there for a little bit and are getting healthy, ready to go. And, of course, the one and only Ruben Bain as well. So we got a lot to talk about there. Really excited about the front seven and the inside with some transfers and some big names there, along with the linebacker crew, which is really exciting to talk about also. So we'll get right into it. But, guys, like I mentioned, right, that front seven is really going to dictate a lot of what happens in these games. If they can put pressure on those offenses, you're talking about, the quote unquote weak spot of ours, which is our cornerbacks and our defensive backs, get an opportunity to kind of play a little more loose, a little freer, and make some plays out there, right? They're talented enough. It's just a matter of depth and maybe experience. You bring back Daryl Porter and Zamari Brown, and you got De'Ani Hill now coming in, and Mish Powell and some other guys. So you've got some talent there. However, they haven't played together, so you got to really depend on this front seven to come out there and do some work. We probably want to start off with that defensive tackle position. I think it's the silent assassins of that front seven, because I know we're not getting a lot of talk about them except inside, in the inner circles with the Canes and whatnot. But who are some of the guys right off the bat? We'll start off with you. We'll start off with Vish today on that inside, that defensive tackle position that you think could really make a name for themselves this year and be really productive and kind of go out there and show that interior defensive line can really make some moves.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said at the top, two of the we lost Jazz there, but two of the the depth here is incredible. So I mean, the starters are probably going to be CJ Clark and Simeon Barrow, which is, I wouldn't necessarily say make a name for themselves, because they're known college football players if you follow college football, but obviously they're new to Miami. Those are your starters. I mean, it's going to be hard to have anyone to have anything even, coming close to arriving at starters. And then behind them, Marley Cook, Ahmad Moten, maybe Josh Horton gets in there, that Anthony Campbell. There is like you said, we can rotate heavily this year, which is something we haven't. We've had, that starting talent. We have not really. It's been a huge drop off to the backups in the past. In this case, we've upgraded the starters. I mean, we all like Jared Harrison Hunt and, wanted him to stay, but there's been, this is a clear upgrade with Clark and Barrow, and then we have depth behind it too. That's all new, right? We have not had those rotations. You're on mute, and now your face disappeared, and now you're
Kings today stopped by. What's up, Kings? By the way, he does some really good work on Twitter, but I just saw him pop in, so sorry about that.
Yep, and then
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a bit when we do recruiting. But yeah, so I mean, I think this, when we want to, if you watched our teams play, 20 years ago, that long, be able to rotate players in, and I think we can do that this year. And you talked about on the interior, like there's 4 or 5 tackles you'll be comfortable. Obviously, in the money downs, you're going to want Clark and Barrow in there, but there's 4 or 5 guys you're comfortable rotating in for possessions at a time without really worrying about much of a drop off. So that's huge.
I agree. Blue, you want to kind of chime in on those defensive tackles, and who are some of the guys that you're really looking to make an impact this year?
Yeah. Well, he mentioned, the CJ Clark is, obvious. Simeon Barrow is going to be good. Marley Cook for depth and got an opportunity to do something. Ahmad Moten, who's a space eater. Reminds me a lot of Lawal McRae back in the day, or the kid McRae. McRae, number 54. Can't remember his name now. Yeah, it's kind of a space eater. You still got, the, Anthony Campbell.
Right.
So you got a few guys coming in, obviously Akeem Mesidor, but he's a DN kid. But it's just, it predicates if this could be a really, really deep side of the ball. Like I said, the front seven's going to afford the secondary a lot more time and a lot more time to learn to play together. But I still think that the secondary is going to be better than people think. It's going to be more athletic than people think it is.
I'm looking at. I'll be honest with you before I get to DJ on this, because I want to steal it before he does. Josh Horton, I think, is a kid that's going to come out and make some.
Yeah, I was going to mention him, but I wanted to leave one for you.
Well, I stole it from Danny because I know DJ was going to say it. You gave me the shot to do it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I like the way that worked there. I think that he might be the most athletic one, and he's one of the biggest ones too. But I think he's one of the most athletic guys on that defensive tackle. I guess 2 deep, 3 deep, whatever you want to call it. Those defensive tackles. I mean, he's a guy that can go up and he can dunk. He's very athletic. He's quick, and he's strong. He's about 6'3", 6'4". He's about
Big kid, yeah.
Yeah, he's 310 pounds. He's a big kid, right? So, came in last year, didn't really play a lot, developed his body, developed his technique a little bit. But they like what they've seen from him, from what I get at. And not only that, but you got Justin Scott coming in, right? Some of those young guys, I think, are going to come in and push some of the older guys. But at the end of the day, I know I mentioned Josh Horton, but I think your top three guys are let's say your top four guys are probably Barrow, Clark, Cook, and Moten. Although you can probably throw in Horton there. So look, that's the thing, right? Like, we're talking about depth now. We're talking about Campbell as well. You're talking about being able to put Mesidor in there on certain packages where you get kind of like a third and long, or where you got to rush some guys, and you bring in some more edge kind of guys that can move in and out. We didn't even mention Armando Blount, right? So Armando Blount is another guy that can play inside and outside. He's changed his body. He looks jacked up now. So that's another kid that can come in and make some noise. So, and I know I'm missing another young guy. That's one of the top-rated prospects. I can't remember his name, but DJ, kind of chime in on those defensive tackles.
Scott?
No, Justin Scott. I mentioned.
I didn't hear.
I know there's another one, but I can't remember now. Maybe anybody in the chat can help me out.
Is he on campus now?
Yeah, I believe he is. Or maybe I mentioned everybody. I'm not sure now.
Elijah Alston?
No.
No, he's at the end. He's an
end. This is a young guy. Jeez. Highly rated guy. Anyways, I'll think about it. Maybe we can pull up the roster. But DJ, your thoughts on the defensive tackles?
I look at a guy like Simeon Barrow, and I know we talked about him a little bit, but I like the experience that he brings to the defensive tackle position. He played in 469 snaps over, his time at Michigan State, and he also had 10 and a half sacks in his 3 years of play. And to me, looking at the defensive tackle position, the fact that defensive tackles have the ability to rush the passer these days is extremely important. No longer is the defensive tackle position one where they just fill space and stop the run. Now they need to be able to be versatile and get pressure to the quarterback. And, Barrow brings that experience to the table. And, he also had 110 tackles. So he is familiar with, obviously playing the position, but also being able to produce at a high level. And you guys kind of touched on it a little bit ago, but I'll just say it again. Having a good, front seven makes the secondary's life a lot easier. And if you have the talent like we do at the edge position, plus getting a little bit of pass rushing help from the defensive tackle spot, that creates, a very well-rounded defense. And, I'll be interested to see what Barrow does this season, but I really think that he will be able to make a sizable impact. And I'm wondering if he'll kind of continue that same pass rushing role as well with so much talent on the edge.
That's going to be interesting to watch. No, Lightfoot is an outside guy also, so maybe I didn't mention everybody now. I don't even know anymore.
I think you might have, yeah.
I might have.
We have so much talent, we don't even remember some of the guys.
Unbelievable. I think it's going to be interesting to watch what they do this year. I think it could be exciting to see them not only clog up some holes and do great in the run game, but be a factor in the passing as well. I think some of these guys are athletic enough where they can get up the field and chase a quarterback down and maybe get some TFLs and some sacks that way also. So. Really excited to see what happens there. If you kind of move out to the outside, now you're talking about some of the best guys in the country at this point. There's no doubt about it that Miami has some of the top defensive ends in the country. Some of the top defensive ends coming in, and some returning guys and some transfer portal guys. I think that this is one of the deepest positions that the Canes have, especially on defense. And it's exciting to see because if you've got a strong defensive end, strong edges that can set those edges and keep the quarterback, in the pocket sometimes, create some pressure that way. It's gonna be a field day for Miami's defensive backs, and we're talking about coming back with Ruben Bain, who could potentially be the best defensive end in the country. You've got transfer portal guys in Elijah Alston, and I think the biggest one for me is Tyler Barron. I think people don't realize how good Tyler Barron is. They've got, there's some experts out there, calling him a potential first rounder, right? That's how good Tyler Barron is. He's a long, lengthy, strong kid. He's jacked up. Also, I've seen some videos of him recently doing some workouts, and the kid's impressive, right? But then now you also bring back Akeem Mesidor, who's finally going to be healthy and is going to play on that outside as well. Bringing a guy like Marquise Lightfoot, who's light, but if you've seen him dominate all these All-Star games, you know that there's an opportunity for him to gain a little bit of weight and be really productive down the line. I mean, he provides depth right now. You've also got a kid like Booker Pickett, who could play a little bit of linebacker, but also the edge, right? He's very talented. You could stick him there and put a hand down, and I think that he is special there. And then also, I think that for me, this is my guy. This is my surprise pick. I think this is my guy that's going to make a name for himself. It's going to be really productive at the University of Miami. Maybe this year he'll get in and make some plays and flash, but he's not going to be, obviously with the amount of talent that we have there. It's going to be hard for him to get playing time. But I think Cole McConaughey is a kid that's going to come in and be real special at the University of Miami. That's kind of like my dark horse of guys that's going to show out this year and put up some nice numbers as a freshman. What do you think, Blue?
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be really, really good. We had a chance to watch him during the spring.
Yeah.
And, no, I like him a lot. I think he's got an opportunity to be really, really special. He's one of those guys that comes in, play. I think, where he played in Alabama, he played against a really, really tough schedule. And, and he came up big all the time. People really, everybody that I talk to thinks that he's going to be, over the next couple of years, one of those guys is going to be very, very, is going to be one of those dudes, but yeah, I think he's got an opportunity. Elijah Alston and
did even mention a guy like Elias Rudolph, right? Another kid.
The kid that hasn't, but he hasn't played in a year, so he didn't play this past year. But when he did up in Ohio at Taft High School, he did pretty good. But I think a lot of it hinges on the health of Akeem Mesidor, because if he stays healthy, he gives you undoubtedly. I mean, you talk about a sixth man in basketball. I mean, this guy's got an opportunity. I mean, he's got long arms. He's shown what he could do before. He could dictate play. He can get out and get guys. I think he's a key to that line as well.
Here's a question I have, and I want to throw this to Vish. I'm going to give him the hard-hitting question here on the end. You've obviously got Ruben Bain on one side. There's no doubt about it that he's going to be day one starter on one side for the Canes, right? He's potentially one of the top, if not the top defensive end in the country. Now you've got a good problem on the other side. You've got Tyler Barron. You've got Elijah Alston, and you've got Akeem Mesidor. You got three guys that can come in and start, and you still got two other guys that can rotate with Bain and whoever else is going to be on that other side as potentially your two deep. But if you had to choose right now, Vish, who is your day one starter on the other side? Is it Barron? Is it Mesidor? Is it Alston? Who's the guy for you there at defensive end?
For me, it's Barron. I think he's done it at this level. As Blue said, if Mesidor is healthy 100% day one, that's different. But he hasn't played in a year. So he's got to knock some rust off. So at least going into the UF game, it's, I think I've made my opinion of the quality of that program clear, but they're still, a P4 school. So you kind of, Barron's played more recently. So I think he's going to be the guy day one, answering Pimp Down's question. But if Mesidor works himself back to health, as you said, Jazz, and Blue called him the sixth man equivalent, it's going to be, starter back up with it's going to be one of those, let's go the depth part with a slash. situations, and they're both going to play a lot because that. I think we forgot, when he was out last year, how good Mesidor was. He was first team All ACC, I believe, 2 years ago. He's definitely on the All ACC team, which on a 5-7 team is hard to do as a defensive end. And he did that off of that team, then got hurt. That's I think, as you said, again, you can rotate, no let up when you go to the backups here. I would say Alston's. I would put him a little bit below Barron and Mesidor. With that said, he would be a starter on this team at any point in like the last 15 years. So he just came in when there's actual like elite level depth at that position. No, I think he's really good. He's really good. It's more. That's what I'm saying. It's more a reflection of my opinion of Barron and Mesidor, and not a reflection on. I think he's like I said. I think any other point in the last 15 years of this program, he's started.
He's like a for sure starter.
yeah, exactly. But at this, we got Bain. We got 2 All ACC players at defensive end, and Barron coming in from Tennessee is
all SEC.
Yeah. So it's just like it's hard for Alston to wedge his way into the starting, but he'll 100% play a lot. And
we haven't had that problem in a long time, Vish.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
Thing.
That's the good thing.
I'd much rather have that problem.
Yeah, and that's what Jazz led this conversation out. And I think that's what jumps out is that this year there's actual depth,
right?
And that it hasn't been the case in forever. It's been okay. We got to rotate someone in because they can't play every snap, but got to be very strategic to make sure that they're not on the field when it's a big play and all. And now it's kind of like, no, it's fine. If it's a key possession and Bain needs a rest, you can go with Alston or Mesidor or Barron, be fine.
I agree. DJ, who's again? I'll throw this question to you. Right? Is it Barron? Is he your day one guy on the other side, opposite of Bain, or are you looking at Alston or Mesidor?
I'll say Barron because he brings that experience, and not that the others don't, but Barron's done it pretty recently, and Bain and Barron is a lethal combo, and you look at again, who are the best players on your defensive line, and Bain is obviously going to be a superstar, already is at that level in my opinion, and Barron's been that type of consistent player as well, so I would go Barron to kind of bookend that defensive line.
So if you have to name your starters right now, so let's do that. Let's finish off with the starting front four. Blue, who are your starting front four? Who's your starting front four?
Well, obviously Bain. I think C.J. Clark, Simeon Barrow, Tyler Barron.
Yeah.
Tyler Barron. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go. I would go like you mentioned, Vish. I'd go Mesidor if he was 100% healthy and we knew he was, he didn't have that
over Tyler Barron.
If that was the case, because let's say he played last year and he was again, your all ACC kind of guy, and he came in, I might start him. I don't know if that means anything. I just think that he would start just based off of, prior production, and I know I hate to say it's stupid, but seniority in the sense, just because he's done it and he's done it at a high level. That's not a knock on Barron. That's not a knock on Alston or any of those guys. I just put it there. It doesn't mean he's going to get more playing time or more snaps, but I just think as a starter, I think I'd go, but that's not the case, right? We don't know how healthy he is. So I'm kind of going to go, chalk here, as most of you are going to go and probably say Tyler Barron. And then on the inside, just based off of what we're hearing, it's definitely Simeon Barrow and C.J. Clark. Although I'm going to say my dark horse, and I'll go back to you, Blue, on this. I think my dark horse on the line, period, I think is Ahmad Moten. I think he's the guy that's going to come in and really, really –
Taraz McRae, that's who he reminds me of.
Taraz, that's his name. Taraz McRae.
Because he's he's shorter, he's stocky, but he's a space eater, and you can't push him around. You put him in the middle, he's going to be awfully tough to, and he's going to, the whole thing is if they try to run up the middle on him, he's going to be a force.
Yep.
You know,
That's
so
hands
yeah,
down
that's
Ahmad Mo.
not going to use him so much for pass rushing, but
No, I think he's a plugger, right? He's gonna plug, and he's gonna take some space, a space heater, like you said. Who's kind of like your dark horse on that line?
Well, I think
at
Blue
each
just.
I think just a line position.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think we'll do linebackers next, and you can answer that part there, and then Bill, you got to come next week to get the back 7. Do back 4. I mean, we're not doing that this week.
Yeah. I mean, if you're picking just a dark horse that we really haven't talked about, Marley Cook. I think Marley Cook could be a guy who we haven't really watched much, but he's, I mean, if you're picking a dark horse, I mean, it's going to be awfully tough because we already mentioned everybody. So
yeah, Jazz opened up the Rolodex, and it was just like, let me name some dudes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, we talked about them. We really didn't kind of get into who we thought would be the.
Well, I think Moten is actually what Blue was just talking about. Before I flash the question, it's actually a good, because I think he's kind of last year he's a key player for us, but I think with all the additions, he's kind of fallen out of our headspace as people covering this, but not really the coaches, as Blue says, a distinct role that he's very good at. That'll be key for us, and I think he's kind of fallen out of memory for some of us. So he can be a sleeper, even though he's already produced here quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill
Josh Horton. I love Josh Horton. I think he's going to do.
Yeah. He's that could be a really good dark horse as well. TY Sports Picks 24 asked me, is Jamie French a lock? Well, just to go off base here, and because I don't know. I think that his ties to Louisiana and the money that LSU is serving up, and it's between Miami and LSU, and I know that he's friends with Hilton and with a couple of kids down here, but it's gonna be awfully tough for Miami to come away with him.
We'll talk about.
We'll talk receivers in the next decade.
Now we'll talk about it in a second. We'll finish up.
No, I just wanted to make sure I saw he had.
No worries.
It's hard for recruits to leave the state of Louisiana as a whole, and especially now with NIL and LSU throwing money everywhere. Not that they haven't done that before, but anyway.
Not that Miami has.
But
Miami and the Dolphins are vying for who has the highest payroll up front.
I know, right?
Well, Tua took care of that. So
holy mackerel!
Yeah.
Then he rubbed it in.
It's gonna be. He should rub it in. He got paid.
Now it's time.
I don't know if you could ever trust a guy with 2 F's in the front of his name.
Yeah.
Did his brother play at Pitt or something? I feel like there was a French with 2 F's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Who, French?
Yeah. French's brother was a wide receiver at Pitt.
Okay.
That's right. Okay. Yep.
I
remember. Like that name is so familiar to like the 2 F thing. It's got to be relation.
You're right. Linebackers. Now this is a tricky one because you got a lot of new names there. You got a lot of guys that have left and a lot of new names. I mean, the 2 main staples are your starting guys, I think, in Wesley Basaint and of course Kiko Mauanoa.
Yeah.
You were about to mention Popo, right?
Yeah, I think Popo and Jalen Alderman will be the guys that are going to push really hard. I think Bobby Washington's going to finally get a chance to show what he could do as far as depth, and the kid Cam Pruitt.
Bobby Pruitt, baby. Yep, Cam Pruitt.
Yeah, I think he has an opportunity to be pretty special as well. But I think, like you said, Wesley and Francisco Mauanoa are the guys up. But I think the next guy who's had probably the best spring in into the workouts is Popo. I think he's a lot of everybody I talk to brings his name up. He's like a magnet towards the ball. He can play the run. He could drop back into passing coverage. So, guys like that. And I think you were with me last year, Jazz, when we went to the either it was Legends or a spring game or something where we saw him. And I said, wow, he got pretty big, pretty quick, so he's worked really hard, and that's another position. And I mentioned that to Coach Cristobal when we had him on the show tonight about, just the front 7 itself being so much better than it's been in the past with depth. We always had the front line guys, and it's going to give the secondary an opportunity to grow and to learn. And I just said that and I saw DJ bobbing his head.
Darius Jones or Artavius Jones.
Oh,
That's
but
the one.
I think he's a second-year difference maker. He's a beast.
I don't think now, but he's another depth. Like he's another
like him and Scott and a couple of other guys that'll kind of.
That's the guy I forgot to mention. Yeah.
Huh?
That's the guy I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I just think that it's awfully tough to, come in a situation where Miami has now not only as starters but too deep at a lot of places, and that's one thing they haven't been. And it's is the one question. And I think when I first talked to Coach Cristobal when he first arrived, my one thing is, the roster's got to improve. And I think I told him a stat tonight that he didn't know. I said, there's only 11 guys around from when you first got here.
I mean,
did he think that was a big number, like higher than he thought? It's like, I got 11 more. I got to get rid of them.
He says, I got 11. I got to get rid of some kids. These aren't my guys.
Did they hit their numbers? Did they hit their scholarship numbers? Because that's kind of crazy. I know a lot of things have changed now with scholarships, specifically baseball, which we will talk about tomorrow. We got a loaded potato of a show tomorrow in Canes.
Yeah, but football too, 105 starting next year. So
let's go. Now it's not even a problem, right? Now you can.
Well, they're not going to be able to fill those with NIL. People are going to poach so many guys off the is.
True.
I mean,
true.
But it's
not going to be so much of an issue if you over recruit per se.
Yeah, if someone wants to stick around and just get an education and practice, then like they can do that without like fear of being kind of forced out. Yeah.
Kind of crazy, man. That's awesome. I mean, it's good for them, but good for the players. Yeah. It's Wes. It's Wes and Kiko, but I like you said, Blue. I wouldn't rule out Popo getting a lot of playing time. I know that the development of Wesley in the offseason has been dramatic. I hear that he's put on a lot of muscle. He's gotten better in the classroom as well as far as learning.
Yeah, that was important.
D. Nicholson, has done an amazing job with those linebackers. Jalen Alderman coming in from Louisville was a great addition. Then you've got some of the young guys like Bobby Pruitt, Cam Pruitt, however you want.
Yeah, Cam Pruitt. Yeah, Bobby Washington.
Darius Hayes is a kid that.
Yeah, a good one.
He's got some time to develop, but I think the one again, another surprise linebacker that has been here. It seems like for, he's another one.
Smith.
His AARP card is Chase Smith. I think he's dealt with so many injuries in the past, but he's a smart kid. He's like 235, 240 pounds, 6'4". He's a fast guy. He's a strong guy. He's a guy that I think I'd keep an eye on. If he can stay healthy, I think he's the guy that I can keep an eye on that can do multiple things. He can rush the quarterback. He can play the edge, and he can also drop back a little bit and run sideline to sideline as well. So Chase Smith is a guy that, I want to keep an eye on and see if he's able to develop and maybe do something this year. What about you? What about you, DJ?
I was excited for Jalen Alderman. I remember being excited when he first, came into the program, and you just look at his statistics. He was all over the field in terms of making plays. He had at least 3 games with four tackles, and he is the type of stat sheet stuffer, but not in the way of, hey, I'm just going to get my numbers. He is active to the football. He is 6'1", 230, pretty good size for a linebacker, and also, again, brings that veteran experience to the linebacker group, and, played at Louisville, has experience with big-time football. So I'm excited to see what he brings to this defense and, how he kind of strengthens that linebacker group that is already pretty strong. And, I liked the Alderman addition, like I said, when it was first announced, and he's a guy that I'm really going to be watching as and see how he fits into the defense and what type of plays he can make.
Vish, did you comment on the linebackers already?
I did not. I'll just say this. I think the difference between this and we were talking about the defensive front, the front four earlier, is I do think there is a drop off here. If we do need Kiko and Wes on the field at critical times, as much as we're high on some of the other guys that have not played a lot. And that's a tough position to play.
Yeah.
A really tough position to play. We got to diagnose the play and read it pretty quickly, and we put a lot on our linebackers. And so this is one where we really need those two guys to stay healthy, and that'll allow Popo and the rest to kind of grow into the season. But right now those two guys are kind of, to me, there is a drop off here. It's not like co-starter situation. There's a clear 1 and 2 here.
I feel like it's always not always, but ever since we've been doing a show, there's always been a struggle at the linebacker position. It just seems like there's been a lack of depth there for quite a while now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's as much of a drop off as Vish thinks on.
It's gotten better, to be clear.
Everybody outside of Kiko. I think Kiko is clearly, one of the top linebackers in the ACC. And he's great. Wes has kind of shown that he can develop and he can get better, which is consistent. Biggest deal there, but he has put on some weight, and we expect him to do some big things. But they're young. Popo's young. He's still young. He's only in his second year now. Bobby Washington, same thing. And some of the other guys. Jalen Alderman probably brings in most of that experience on that, in that group. But it's not necessarily our strongest position. But the top two or three guys, I think, are really, really talented, and I think the other guys are developing into something special. But it might take them, a little bit. But I think that we are talented enough where even guys like Booker Pickett is another kid that could play the linebacker position. I know he's played that before. He can line up, as one of those outside guys, edge rusher / linebacker guys. And even a guy like Cole McConaughey, he's still about 240 pounds, so he's still big enough and small enough where he can play, that outside edge kind of guy, depending on what they do, right? Guidry likes to run that 4-2-5 style defense. So there's an opportunity there where, one of those other guys could be a stand-up edge guy playing outside, or, there's a lot of combinations. I know Guidry likes to run a lot of different formations, so I think there's opportunities for everybody to kind of get an opportunity to play well, to kind of come in and make a play. So, but I think that, I think it's Kiko and Wes, and then everybody else maybe battling it out. But if I had to mention the top four, let's say, our depth is probably going to be Kiko, Wes, Popo, and Jalen Alderman. I think those are your top four guys right off the bat. So it could be interesting to see what they do coming down the line. So would you say everybody is kind of in agreement that those are your top two starters, right? It's
Yeah.
West. I don't think there's no doubt about that. Let's see this question. When was the last time we had this much depth at the D-line at the start of the season? Blue, you want to take
86.
that? Oh.
All right, let's start.
That's an interesting time. Nice. Okay, Blue, why 1986?
You had all those studs, man. Ask Dan Cilio, he'll tell you.
Oh, God. I don't want to ask Dan Cilio.
I would. God, I'm trying to think about those mid-2000 teams when, the offense had basically gone the toilet, but the defense was still elite and keeping us in games. We were still rotating some pretty quality defensive linemen in, I feel, at that point, with like Andrew Smith and as like a backup. I'm thinking about the backups much on the Stars when we had that rotation. Like Blue mentioned, Taraz McRae was an occasional starter. He was a backup though a lot of the time he was here. Some of those the later era Randy Shannon, we still had some pretty good defensive line depth.
So linebackers, you had John Beese and Rocky.
Yeah. So it's probably around probably 15 years around then.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'd have to go pull up all the rosters to get but it's definitely not 86. The teams that won the championship at the turn of the century were like Wilfork wasn't even starting on that team in 2001. Wow. He didn't start until 2002.
One of my favorite players, Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, he wasn't starting on that 01 team. He didn't start till the next year because we had so much depth in front of him.
Which is crazy to think about, right?
With William Joseph and
Yep.
I think Damian Lewis was the other one. So we were that was 2-3 deep, but
I mean, Blue, listen, you spoke to Mario today. He's all in, man. This is the year, right? This is the year that they are all in. They're competing for a playoff spot and hopefully a national championship, right? Like that's the goal this year, right? According to Mario.
Well, obviously, this is a year that they think that they're gonna be able to turn the corner. And to quote him, as he says, "We've come a long way, but we got a long way to go." So I don't know if that's just coach speak or
Tempering expectations. I get it. I get it. I get it.
No, I mean it's just you get coach speak, but not many of the people out here had the pleasure of seeing him come into the post game press room after losing to schools like Middle Tennessee State and all that. So I think he's kind of tempering his enthusiasm.
He's gonna undersell and over deliver like a typical badass salesman. All right.
Yeah. Well, you know how that is. I mean, it's.
I will say there was very little tempering of expectations at the ACC kickoff last week from our players. That's for sure. They were.
You like it that way, though,
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at our depth chart, we mentioned all the players we brought in. A lot of them are senior transfers. Like this is going to be an overhaul after this season. Everyone knows it's Cam Ward's only year, but most of the guys we mentioned today are seniors. I think Ruben Bain is the only one that's like not. So we've been, other than like the ones where like a newcomer might be able to grow into the role, but like the ones where definitely everyone were like calling starters, or even a lot of the backups are graduated from their previous school and transferred to.
Yeah, I was just looking at the depth chart, and you're right.
It is a lot of talent's going to leave this school at the end of the year. Now Mario's shown an ability to get into the portal as well as, at the high school level recruit and stack classes and all that, which is why the depth comes in. But, this is a big year in terms of just there is an opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we'll get into that more on the prediction show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Where Blue and DJ.
Me and DJ are going to have like this 3-hour conversation before that. So we can put our heads together.
You can align.
Yeah, we got to align like we did last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm still going to temper my expectations. I know Vish is probably going to aim high, and that's okay. I'm not taking a shot at Vish, but
Vish had him 10-3 2 years ago. So
no, Vish is good. We're going on the feeder this year.
Look,
baby.
man, I only missed that by 5 games, so that was not in the grand scheme of things.
We'll get you closer this time.
I mean, about the time we got to the second quarter of the Middle Tennessee State game, I came to the realization that I overestimated slightly.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Just a little off, slightly off, but.
Oh man! By the way, a couple of things. We got Canes Fest this weekend. Thanks, Fish, for reminding me.
Is that Saturday?
It's Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep. Sunday. So make sure.
Where's
you guys
it at?
It's at the stadium.
Oh, okay.
So 2 o'clock, parking lots open, 2:30 gates open, autographs for 6:30. I'm assuming there's going to be a scrimmage or something in the middle.
Yeah.
Is that the one we went to last year, Jazz?
I think so. Someone asked in the chat earlier, when does training camp start? And I think
that was Marine.
This week.
Yeah, they start this week. I know I got an email this week.
I think they have media day is on Wednesday.
Right, that's right. Yeah, the media days are midweek, and then I think probably by the end of the week.
Yeah, you got the same email, right, Elvish?
Yeah.
So this week, Marine East. So
it's getting serious here.
This is it, man. It's go time now, baby. It's go time. So that's coming up. Blue. We wanted to mention recruiting. Obviously, we spoke about Jamie.
I got a lot to add because I sent you. I was up in Orlando for they had 108 schools for their media days over 3 days, and I got a chance to see 4 Miami commits. I sent you a picture, I believe, Jazz,
yes,
of a Melendez kid. Certainly looks the part.
Oh yeah,
he gave it. And but I'll tell you, the guy who was the most impressive looking out of all of them, Jaden Wilkerson. That son of a gun is 6'6". I mean, I saw him, and then I got a chance to see also Buchanan, who wore his cowboy hat to media day, and All of them are really excited. Also got a chance to see Demetrius, a kid from Orlando Christian Prep, Campbell. Good kid, well-spoken. So I had an opportunity to see those guys as well. And I'll tell you, it was a really star-studded media event. You know, Vernell Brown came, and you know, like they had schools like Cocoa, Lakeland came over, and Orlando Edgewater, and some really, really good talent. And you know, it's weird though. Of all the teams, you know who's doing really well and under the radar is UCF. They just picked up 2 4-stars last week.
A flip from Alabama, didn't they?
Yeah. So I guess people are finding out that they're playing against competition now instead of
Right.
Yeah, no, they are in the Big 12 now. So
yeah, they are. It's and plus they handed them the 4 newcomers. You know, here's Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah. On top of they go to Florida too.
That's right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what's going. But yeah, I had a chance to do that, and then obviously on Saturday they had the barbecue, and I know that a lot of people paid a lot of attention to Jamie Double F French. Because obviously they'd like, you know, I mean, he would put Miami right in the top 5 if he came, but you never
also
know.
had Elijah Griffin here, right? Elijah Griffin made it out.
Yeah, Elijah Griffin. They had a bunch of kids that came out that, you know, like you said, a couple of targets, couple of guys that are pretty much committed to other schools. So, yeah, it's and I think those really. Instead of having that, you know, the final weekend of the season or of the summer as a camp or a combine, you know, like Legends, it to me, by the time the kids reach mid-July, they're finished with this stuff. They don't want to be timed anymore, and they don't want to, you know, they're finished with that. So I think that Miami, Florida State did the right thing by having their, you know, targets come. You know, there's a couple of the one target I think that Florida's getting that we kind of talked about is Ben Hanks, and I would certainly love to have him down here. I was telling you a story of one of the coaches.
He was at the barbecue as well, so. He was also at the barbecue, Ben Hanks.
Yes, but I'm just saying, guys like him, and I related the story to you guys at the time, is that when he was at one of those, I think it was like just a camp, and he was just as an invitee, he didn't participate, but he walked up to say hello to me and a couple other people, and then as he's leaving, one of the coaches says, "That's what you win national championships with." So I mean, he's thin right now, and you know what? The whole thing is I understand the lineage of his dad played there and all, but you know what? Maurice Crum played here, and his son played at Notre Dame. So, and there's been a few others, you know. So it's not. I think he would fit well down here just because he's a loose, hip type of kid who covers a lot of ground, and he's got long arms, and he's got great recovery speed, and he's been starting at the varsity level since the 8th grade. So yeah, that makes a lot of a difference. He's obviously got to put on 25 or 30 pounds, but that'll happen. You know, that happens. And, but yeah, there's a couple of kids. I mean, I'd like to say to TY that they're going to get French, but if they don't, it's so much like what's his name that just committed to LSU, Pickett. It's not for the lack of trying. And Miami really, you know, Miami had Pickett on campus numerous times.
And that recruitment is not over, by the way.
I understand that. I know your boys are telling you that, but I think that the parents just bought or somebody just bought him a brand new home in Baton Rouge. So that
yeah, we won't see
you never know. But you know what? Miami came away with a kid that was a sure lock to LSU. So you never know what happens. So it's
right.
Yeah. No, I understand. Nothing's over till December, but I think Miami just needs to concentrate and give love to a couple of kids that they really need to have.
Well, let's talk about some of the guys that visited this in the barbecue. Wide receiver Ryan Mosley. Yeah, obviously, Darian Coleman came over for his visit. Quarterback commit 2026 kid. Another 2026 offensive lineman Johnny Jones. A lot of 26 guys. Jermaine Kinsler, which I believe is the brother of Tommy Kinsler.
Yeah, I just saw him the other day. He was
defensive
at the
lineman.
media day on Friday.
Big kid. Shavari
Yeah.
Jr., another wide receiver. Malachi Tony, who is obviously committed, American Heritage kid, a wide receiver.
Getting bigger, too.
That kid's guy I think is going to be special, man.
Yep. Getting bigger, too, Jazz.
Is he really? How big is he at now?
Probably 180.
I like it.
He was at 160 at one point.
And he's about 6 feet, right?
About 6 foot, yeah.
All right. Running back Javian Mallory, another 2026 kid.
Big time kid out of West Boca. He's probably one of the top 2026 running backs in Florida.
Beautiful. Well, he was at the barbecue. Jaden Pettit.
From Naples First Baptist. That kid's a small school type of guy, but I'll tell you what, he can play.
That's a big prospect there. Mikhail Blade, the defensive.
That kid is a big time kid, outside the area type of kid, and yeah.
So, well, he's obviously a big. He's a big prospect. A lot of these kids are 2026 kids. Hezzy Kent, a big time tight end.
Right. Blade's the number one player in Illinois.
Hezzy Kent.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well,
Blade kid. Yeah. So that's already starting off on the right foot, where you get the number one kid in the state for that class.
That's huge. Miami's done well in Chicago or in Illinois.
Yeah.
Recently, also, obviously, Justin Scott is the first name that comes to mind. But
also Maryland would be another guy to come.
Lightfoot too, I believe. Marquise Lightfoot.
Lightfoot's from that area, not far.
You're right. Wide receiver Travis Johnson was there as well. Isaiah Williams, a linebacker.
Oh, freak of nature from Tavares. He transferred from Leesburg. I saw him over the weekend as well. This kid's a beast.
Talk about freaks of nature. This kid looks huge. Deuce Geralds, another defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Looks like a big kid as well. Jordan Campbell, linebacker, 2026 kid.
He's already committed, right?
He's already committed. Yep.
From Carroll City.
Yep. One of another big prospect, big kid. Naeem Burrows is a wide receiver.
Out of Jacksonville Bowls.
Okay. And Javari Flowers, another defensive back prospect.
Kid from down here at Northwestern. A track kid, too, like a 10-6 kid.
Whoa. Okay. Caden Prothero, I know he's probably one of the best tight ends in the country.
Yeah.
2026 kid also. Justice Fitzpatrick, a defensive back.
That's Minka's brother.
That is Minka's brother, correct?
At St. Thomas, yeah. He's my number 2 player in the state for 2026.
Is he really? So, I mean, look, I'll mention a couple other guys. Calvin Russell, another wide receiver.
Big time kid. Kids could be a power 4-5 basketball star too.
Wow.
Teddy Bridgewater loves him. Should play quarterback, but he's going to play receiver, and he's 6'3".
He's a Northwestern kid, right?
Huh?
Northwestern kid, yeah.
Yeah, 6'4" kid. The kid's just he's a great talent. If they have a quarterback, it'd be best for him to play receiver. But he can play everywhere, and he's like I said, great basketball kid too.
Obviously, Luke Nichols in town again, probably doing some recruiting himself.
Some apartment shopping.
The 2025 kids, Jamie French, of course. Elijah Melendez was down here. After, I guess Max Buchanan came down after.
Yeah, both of them did. They were on the same day on Friday.
Oh, okay. Then you've got this is actually who else? SJ Alafaituli was here.
That's the kid from Vegas.
TK Muex.
Yeah, kid from Fletcher. He's, you know what? I wasn't high on him until I saw him at a camp, and he might be a project, but he's a kid that's got some athleticism. He's from Fletcher. That's Seatric Faison, who used to be the running back at Florida. He's the head coach. He's the head coach. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Jaden Wilkerson, obviously you spoke about him earlier. How big he is.
Mammoth. He probably ate the whole barbecue.
He looks like one of the doors that you put up at the Hex.
Unbelievable size.
He's huge. Drake Stubbs was down here. Jabori Antoine, Chris Ewald, Amari Wallace, Tim Merritt. all the kids came out to the.
Omari Wallace made it.
Yep, he made it out to the barbecue. So
Sure, he was on crutches and everything. So.
yeah. I don't know if that's something you can elaborate on, or is that something we got to keep it?
Well, no, you can elaborate on it. It's out now. It's just it was deemed as an illegal scrimmage. You have to sanction those things during the summer, especially when you play somebody else. But that being said, this could be as much as a 15-month deal.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. You got to be careful out there, man.
Well,
You got to be careful. So, well, the good thing is that he's got a year to get better. He's still one of the top safeties in Florida.
It was a compound fracture, so the bone went through the skin. So.
Oh, shit. Oh, Gerard Pringle was in the house. Dalen Upshaw. Zeke
Had some cats there, huh?
Oh, yeah. Do you like Dalen Upshaw? You like him as a prospect?
Yes.
Obviously, he's a kid that comes from out of the state also, but a really talented wide receiver. I think he's
everybody likes him.
Years, so
being highly recruited too.
Yeah. So as you can see, obviously a huge weekend for Canes. Canes football. Brock Schott was there. Luka Gilbert, Herbert Scroggins. A lot of people are deeming him the biggest sleeper in the 2025 class.
Oh yeah.
Blue, I know you like him a lot. I know you think he can be a really special player here at Miami soon. So I mean, a lot of opportunities there. A lot of big time names coming in 2026 and 25 kids. So Miami always does a great job with those barbecues, and that's just an opportunity for them to network and to build. Team building, a little recruiting, of course. But a lot of teams don't do it like that, right? A lot of teams don't have that family atmosphere like Miami tries to do.
Well, they're trying to build it because if you emulate somebody else, and that's not any fault. That's how you get better in everything. Is when you take a little bit of everything that somebody has. So.
Right. King today says Byron Lewis was supposed to go, but couldn't end up going. So
I think he may be headed to FSU, but you never know.
Yeah. Oh,
I like him. He'd be he's another one of those athletic classroom kids.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of things going on in Miami, but look, we've got a minute before we log off, and I don't think we could have ended this show better than with Blues Show and Tell.
Technology there, sir. Okay.
Hey!
We're going to take you back to 1984 in the Orange Bowl.
Oh, man, I was a year old. Let me see that. Hey, Nebraska. That's
awesome.
Man. I love that shirt.
The position of the cord is something else, man.
Oh, man, you got to love it.
Oh, my God.
I know you like that. I know that was
that would not get past the filters today. That cord is.
I'm surprised Mel's not on the line wanting that damn thing.
I want that damn shirt. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
that is a hell of a shirt.
That is definitely one that would not pass modern filters in terms of decency, but we'll leave it there.
Yeah, but I heard you've dropped some F-bombs.
Oh, I don't care about on the show. You can show it on the show. I'm talking about they won't even let you show a pipe anymore. I mean, it looks like he's holding anyway.
Hey, it's almost like TikTok. The women could have basically nothing there, showing everything off, and I mentioned someone was a clown, and they banned me.
You got banned from TikTok?
Yeah, because I mentioned someone was a clown.
Good. Do it again. Make sure
so
people know they're clowns.
Blue banned from TikTok. That is
Well, I'll be back on when I get my Twitter back, which will be never. So
that's some weak sauce there, Blue. That's some weak sauce.
But here's the thing about getting momentum. I haven't been on my Twitter in a month, and I have 2,300 new users. So that's
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On your Prep Red Zone one though.
No, well, that's the one I'm on now, but the one on Larry Bluestein, the one I built 86,000 users on, followers. So
these idiots, they need to get it together.
Yeah. Well, I posed the question: what if it was Burger King or GM or one of those corporations? Would you not give theirs back?
Yeah.
They don't answer. But anyway, that's it.
Well, listen, Blue, if you open up an OnlyFans, I'm sure they'll open it up back up for you.
OnlyFans, but it's just inside recruiting information.
That's all it is. I bet you people will pay a shitload of money
Just
for that.
holding up phallic T-shirts from the '80s. That is
Literally OnlyFans. It'll be OnlyFans. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have DJ's gonna get his OnlyFans page, and
Hot Wheels.
yeah, I was just to answer what Kane today said. He says Mallory's underrated. He's not underrated. Everybody in the country knows.
God, this is why
You
I
like
love
that one, Jess? You like that
What'd
one?
you say? I don't know. I was too busy talking.
I said my OnlyFans page would be Hot Wheels.
There you
Hot
go.
Wheels.
There
OnlyFans
you
Hot
go.
Wheels.
I'm
This is
telling
the
you.
best group of guys in the world right here, man. Are you kidding me?
it's gotta be wheels with a Z though. You gotta
No, exactly. Wheels with a Z.
Oh man. Anyways, we got a really big show tomorrow. We've got actually some really big news in both Formula One and Canes on deck and baseball. Canes baseball as some guys have finally made it official that they are transferring in. A big time name that was committed to Ohio State over to us as well. We're going to try to get on a good friend of mine who is being a pain in the ass about everything. He's a new strength and conditioning coach over at the University of Miami for the baseball program.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have Mr. Fell on and all.
I mean, listen, he's probably just as intense as Feld and just as jacked up, if not even more than Feld. So Nick Soto from Elite U Sports Performance, he's actually now the strength and conditioning coach for Miami baseball. So shout out to him. He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for many years now, probably over 20 years now. I've known him. He's a really good guy, and I'm gonna be honest with you. In my mind, he's the best in the business. He's coached. He's been a personal trainer to a lot of the big time Major League Baseball players, like formerly Yonder Alonso.
Wow.
He was. I don't know how it's going to work now for Manny Machado as well, and some other. What's his name? Gene Segura. Guys like that over in baseball. But he also worked with a lot of NFL prospects like Akeem Nicks, who's a defensive tackle for the Bears now, I believe. I think he's with the Bears now.
Yeah.
Nicks worked with a lot of UM players back in the day, like McCarthy and
wow.
Yeah, Jordan Cronkite is actually one of his head trainers over there.
Good
in
stuff.
His program now. So former Westminster / Florida Gator.
Yeah, he was pretty good, Jordan. Then he ended up at USF, I think.
Yep, South Florida Bull as well. So he's got a lot of experience, and he is, to me, one of the best trainers in the world. I've lost the most amount of weight and been in the best shape of my life when I've worked out with Nick. So his programs are incredible, not only for athletes but for just your regular, guy or girl that wants to go out and work out and get in shape. He is the man. So he does some great stuff with sports teams. So I'm really excited to see what he does with the University of Miami and get some
good. That'd be good. That'd be good.
So hopefully
it'll be a good show.
Hopefully we'll have.
Hey Vish, how lucky was I to get that interview with Paul Skeens last year? Jesus.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That kid is wow. He's just he's a generational type of kid, I think.
Well, yeah, he might win the.
They said he could probably hit 30 home runs if he played baseball.
Probably good. It's
pretty incredible. And he was a catcher at Air Force. Go figure.
Unbelievable. Anyways, we got a great show tomorrow, so make sure you tune in at 9 and then 9:30 for both shows. Canes on deck and hitting the apex, and then
Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah, homered twice.
He homered twice today.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, freaking
today or yesterday?
No, today.
Yesterday he was 1 for 5 after he got off the damn plane the other night, 15 minutes before the game started, and he still went 1 for 5.
That's crazy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he hit
Miami,
2 homers.
The Miami did get like really, really good prospect, a catcher, but he'll be gone in 2 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, if all goes according to plan, they will be able to build him up enough to trade him in a couple of years.
Oh yeah. 2 years from now, he'll be up next year, and then 2 years from now.
That was the plan.
I thought you were talking about the Hurricanes. I was like, who cares if Marlins will end up screwing it up somehow?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I know we're not a baseball show, but that you look at guys like Skeens and Ellie, and you say Yankees, both of them, or Dodgers. Reds ain't going to be able to pay Ellie anymore after next year, 2 years.
Eventually, they're going to go to one of those teams.
Oh
somewhere
yeah, same with Skeens.
in the AL East. It's going to be an AL East. Yeah, they're pretty talented. They're probably 2 top players in the league. I mean, Ellie is. I've never seen anything like Ellie as far as how he throws
Got
the
to
ball.
hit higher, but still, and he strikes out more than Reggie Jackson. So,
But the way he throws the ball across the
oh
diamond,
man, freak of nature. I
unbelievable.
like to see him play wide receiver.
What is he?
That
6'4",
bitch can
6'5"?
fly.
Yeah, he can. Anyways.
All right.
All right, peoples. Thank you so much for joining the show, watching
Yeah.
us. Check us out every Monday here at 8:30 p.m. on the 5 Reasons Canes Network, 5 Reasons Sports as well. You can follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever it is that you get your podcast. Make sure you check us out there as well. We got a lot of good content coming for you the next month and a half, and then it's game time. Literally, it'll be showtime as Miami takes on the Florida Gators in a month and in 35 days, 36 days,
Something like that.
something like that. So keep it locked. We'll get it going for you guys. Make sure you follow us. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.